So I'm here with the one and only Jeff Speakman, a legend in Kempo, of course. And it was such a pleasure to do your class and to talk about critical thinking as a PhD
Yes.
psychologist. I love critical thinking
Yes.
and I love to second guess what the other person's going to do.
Yes.
I love the way your mind works and how you teach the class.
Oh, thank you very much. It's a pleasure. It's very rewarding for me to have the opportunity to express something in the martial art world, but through the lens of critical thinking and logical succession and all of that.
Right. And it's not being used. It's exactly what you said. People, I hate to say it, have been dumbed down to
Yes.
not think. We're always taught now what to think and not how to think. And you're showing
Perfect.
people you never know. Is the guy going to have his left foot forward? Is he going to have his right foot forward? You have to think through all this. You have to
Right.
take the probability. He might be using the right hand. I love all that. And we're going to show some of that to the audience because it was so fabulous. But
Great.
you got in your great stories about Elvis,
Yeah.
and it was a beautiful thing. So, what's the rewarding part about teaching Kempo for you?
The most rewarding part is to live in this world that we have created, which we now call the 5-0 family. And what that means is the higher vibrations of being human, the love and compassion, the empathy, the deep caring for other people have clearly taken predominance in our world. And a distant second is the karate that we do. So we think we're pretty good at the karate that we do. We think we can prove it anytime. But it really isn't nearly as important as the love and friendship that we have. Now, franchise schools in 20 countries, and that predominant thought is what drives those people to want to be in our organization, is because they look at the world in the same way. And in fact, they've been looking for this kind of leadership or this kind of platform, I think is a better word, so that they can live their lives in a thing that they co-created with me. So it's not like they're subordinate to me. They're my partners in this. We are equal. We're an organization of co-leaders. And we exchange ideas on how to lead and how to speak to people and how to be convivial so that we can create a great environment for us. Now that's grown to a huge group, a huge family around the world, and it's still growing, but the potential is what I'm after. The potential of what can we be versus what we are.
Right. And it is a win-win. You were saying this person can go down so that this person can go up.
Yes.
It's still a win-win because you're taking with the teachings. You're sharing that and people are winning with that. And
Yes.
it's so important. You win every time you get into a dojo, you get into a class because you learn the respect, you learn character development. It's super, super important. And you got to strive for those win-wins in life because they're not
They're
always
very rare.
apparent, but you can look for them.
Right.
So let's talk a little bit about your amazing film career. You are the perfect weapon. You made a point to tell us you really didn't have a lot of experiences as an actor, and Paramount gave you so much license to
Yes.
really express yourself as a martial artist and to do their film and then
Yep.
to even edit in the editing bay. So really, I mean, was that a little frightening for you?
It was overwhelming, to say the least, and completely unexpected, because what you just said is exactly right. You have to think of the, I guess, maturity of the executive level of everybody at Paramount that would look at a movie that they've invested heavily in and the beginning of a career of a guy that they're also invested in, and then they're going to take that control out of them and give it to a beginner like me. That in it is, and many of your fans and friends may really not quite understand how incredibly ridiculous it is that a company like Paramount would give that authority to a company. That would be like you would give that to Tom Cruise. You would give, not to a first-time guy. But what I was able to do was prove to them, if you let me re-edit the fight scenes, the truth is that because I'm going to put this back in and add this and that, they elongate the fight scenes. And as I'm sure you know, and everybody else, the most expensive thing you're going to have in a movie are the fight scenes and the stunt and the, they're very, you set up all day for a 30-second car crash, and you better get it right, because when they're done, that car is totaled.
Yep.
So in other words, they're heavily incentivized to stay in control of that, and the fact that they would give me control of that was unheard of.
Yeah, very much so. And I mean, you've now done tens of movies. You've
Yes.
done many, and you're probably known as an actor almost as much as a Kenpo teacher. But when you look at what we have going on this weekend here in Phoenix, you've got a lot of the fight choreographers right
Yes.
in here teaching classes right
Right.
alongside you.
Right.
But your class was very, very organized. It was amazing. Is there anything else you would like to do as an actor?
If I were to do something more, it would have to be for a good reason. In other words, I'm not just looking to do another movie to get paid again.
Yeah.
I've got my worldwide organization. I'm just fine the way it is. But I would like to find a way to move that forward. And of course, doing a movie would be one of the ways that you can move that forward and do a better job. But it has to be the right movie. It has to be for the right reasons, actually, is what I would like to say. So there are, on occasion, conversations that come and go. Okay, that's an interesting idea. I might be interested in doing that. And then they move forward and they fall apart and they move forward. That's the movie business. That's in and out. But if I were to go back into that world, it would have to be for a good reason. It would have to be a message in the movie that I really like. It would have to be, I would have to have control of the fight scenes, of course, as I always have, because I want to maintain the integrity of our art moving forward. And if nobody wants to, and I'll tell you a true story, during the height of my acting career, Warner Brothers came to me and offered me a contract for my own television series. And so it was great, and we said, of course, yes, signed what they call a holding deal for a year. You get paid just to not go anywhere else, only for TV, not for other movies. And then when we actually got started into the details of the story and of the thing, I said, oh, and by the way, I control the choreography of the fight scene and the editing of the fight scene, as I have in all my movies. And they just wouldn't hear of it. They just said, we don't give an actor that kind of authority. And I said, got it. Here's a great idea. Give me another title. Don't pay me anymore. Just give me a title that would satisfy your ego, that you would let somebody have that kind of control. Because if you don't, I ain't doing it. And then they said, well, we just are not going to do it. I said, okay, I'll just take my holding fee and we'll call it a day. Wow. So my point of that story is, I'm not going to give that up. I'm not for sale,
Well, who's going to do you better than you?
Yeah, well, I think so.
I don't think so.
I would like to
I don't think
believe
so.
that's control.
So in order to have longevity of career, you've done a lot of things right. You've obviously been through cancer,
Yes.
which was quite a story. And you did chemo, like a lot of people I know. I'm in a school of thought at the A4M where there are alternatives to things like that. And I wonder, what your outcome would have been. We'll never know.
Right.
We're happy that you're here.
Thank you.
But you've been through a lot. And what are you doing now? What are you eating now? How are you training now to take care of yourself?
I have always done and continue to do now a combination of what I do in the dojo, which we've been talking about, and then I am 5-6 days a week in the weight room. I'm always in training a bodybuilding kind of procedure in the weight room, not a powerlifting, not a heavy lift, but I'm 67 and I'm 235 and I'm pretty solid, and I can still move it around a little bit.
Yeah.
And so the idea is to continue that, because the more correct way to talk about it is resistance training. And as I'm sure you know, the more resistance training you do, but you got to do it smart. There could be a terrible outcome if you do it stupid. But as long as you do it smart, then resistance training is one of the best things for your overall health and longevity, because it causes all the toxins in your body to be exercised out of your system and eliminated through your liver. And sometimes you can't get to those toxins unless it's really vigorous activity.
Right. And that kind of brings me to recovery, because right now there are so many new modalities to recovery, like HBOT, red light therapy.
Yeah.
People are doing bioidentical hormones, peptides.
Yep.
Do you utilize any of the modalities?
Certainly, I have since 2008 been on what we would now call a testosterone management procedure.
Right.
So I every week inject testosterone cypionate, but on a level that brings it up to, I never go over like 800, 900.
Right.
Good. But naturally, right now I would probably be under 200 at age 67. So, but you have to be smart about that. So if you're going to take testosterone, you're going to have naturally elevated levels of estrogen, which is really bad for males. So you also have to take some kind of a pill, a chemical, a medicine that's going to keep your estrogen levels down while your testosterone levels go up, which means you have to continuously, every 2 to 3 months, do blood work just to make sure those levels are protected. So in other words, that's doing it smart. Doing it stupid is just buying testosterone and hitting it and watching you grow and watching you feel amazing, but then you don't protect the downside. So you have to do everything under a medical supervision.
Right. I've seen a lot of experiments go in some crazy directions in Hollywood. I've seen a lot of actors with big careers have things go sideways.
Yes.
And can't have that.
Nope.
But there are a lot of wonderful things. I mean, just sweating, you could do an infrared sauna. You could do red and near infrared light to recover your body so much faster than we could ever do it before.
Yes.
And HBOT for raising your oxygen levels and things like that. So what is your next goal in life?
Is to have tomorrow be as good as today.
All right.
My life is wonderful. I live in an incredibly beautiful space surrounded by wonderful, loving people, including my loving wife, and we have an exceptional relationship, as it should be.
Right.
And so what I want is more of the same. That's
all right.
If we ever get to a New Year's resolution, same thing next year on, I'm good.
Okay, let's renew that contract.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it. Well, I really appreciate your time, and I hope that everyone who watches will definitely sign up. Come down and meet these people. They're so inspirational and informative. I mean, we get into the academic, especially Jeff Speakman, the academic, the history of things, the technical, mechanical, the physiological, the psychological. These are important elements. And I, long time ago, got a black belt in a mixed style, Shirindo Kempo. So I hadn't heard those words, economy of motion, in a long time. I use them a lot. I always say economy of motion. In fact, when I have a lot to do, I say, God, I have to have some economy of motion with this.
Yeah.
And it's so important because you can block strike. You're so much faster,
Yes.
Do you ever use, here's another one, 3 elements of speed, relaxation, explosiveness, and independent movement. Have you ever heard that, or did that come from another style? Where did I get this?
The independent movement thing I'm not that familiar with.
Uh-huh.
But of course, if speed is a part of the mathematical equation of impact, which of course it obviously is, mass and acceleration are the only two, then you start asking the most logical questions, which is, okay, if acceleration is part of the effectiveness of my art, how can I accelerate faster, better, more efficiently? And then you start to break that down and analyze it. And then if you start to accelerate too fast, then you start losing power because you're not in harmony with your body. Your stance and your impact have to be brought together if I want to bring body mass along with the strike. And of course, in Kempo, that's what it's all about.
Right on. Well, if you're lucky, you will find a way to get in a room with Jeff Speakman. He is all of that. He is truly a legend, and he can change your life and teach you how to solve your problems. This is what we need.
This is what we need.
Learn how to think. Don't learn what to think.
You got
Learn
it.
how to think. Take the stuff that works for you. If your body doesn't move this way, move it the way you can move it.
Yeah.
You know, and you'll change your life. And I thank you for this. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for this. And I always say, suffering is optional. Get to know that. That's true. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here with us today. And life, thank you. Life is what you make it. Don't forget.